That is 100. But we wait. The devil is a liar. That's 100 right there. So now, let's get into the Apocrypha. Jay, did you put that King James online, the King James online in their form right there, and so they can have that. Hopefully, you can follow, so people can follow along with us. And where we at on time right now? Because we hadn't even really got into the meat of the lesson. I'm gonna try to block you out, huh? Just be patient for this 1 second. We're gonna put that King James online with you there so that you can have a chance to follow along with us. Let's wait an hour. Okay, we're gonna have to speed through this and make sure we get this all in. Now, so if you got a tablet and anything, you can go to that King James Bible online, and we're gonna go to the scriptures. If not, you can follow along with us now. You can go back and look at it very old time. Let's go to First Maccabees, the first chapter here. First Maccabees. We're going to start there at verse 41.
First Maccabees, what chapter?
First chapter.
Okay. And verse 1, right?
We're going to start at verse 41.
41.
Yeah. We're going to read verses, go back to my notes here. It might be my time to bring out the other tablet though. I got to figure out something. Verse 41. We're going to do 41 through 58, and then we're going to go to the third chapter too as well. Verse 42 through 48. So if you can write these down in your notes, so you can have them to go back to King James Bible Online. Check this out. We're going to go First Maccabees, the first chapter, verses 41 through 58. And then we're going to go to chapter 3, verse 42 through 48. All right? So let me give you some understanding here before we get into this. See, another thing that is very important with the Apocrypha, because the Apocrypha fills in a lot of the process, a lot of the things that happen with our nation, the nation of Israel, from Malachi to Matthew. See, when I grew up and growing up in the church, they taught us that the Most High wasn't speaking from Malachi to Matthew, which is a lie, because first of all, the prophets, how it's listed in the Old Testament, is not really chronological in itself anyway. Okay, but having said that, they made us believe that for almost 300-400 years that the Most High wasn't speaking, and that's just completely outside of His word. But that's what they taught us. But if we had the Apocrypha, we would have knew that the Most High was speaking still the whole time. So the Maccabees begins during the time of the Grecian captivity, when the Greeks, the Edomites, what they call Idumeans of Greece, began to take over the world with Alexander the Great. I'm sure plenty of you have seen plenty of movies, read in history about Alexander the Great. Yes, guess what? Alexander the Great is talked about in the Bible. Yeah. Okay. So that lets us know that what happened was for real. So during the time of Alexander the Great, he took over after Rome fell. Well, this is really after Persians failed, actually. This is before the time of Rome. He died. He ruled for 12 years, and then he died. And he placed 4 of his generals over different areas of his kingdom. One of the areas of the kingdom was in our area, and he began to go to all the nations around us and conquer us. And you can read that in the first part of the first chapter, First Maccabees. He took down Egypt, took down all the surrounding lands, and so some of our people began to be afraid, knowing that he was on his way there. And so a lot of the people came there and they started making deals with him, going to visit him, saying, "Listen, we're going to do whatever you want us to do, just don't take us out." Well, initially, you'll see here in First Maccabees that they told him, like, "Yo, you good. We're not going to take you down, but, that's how the Gentiles do. That's how Edom does. He make you think that he's your friend, he's going to work with you, and then eventually he comes and takes you out." So the Bible says that he begins to take them out, kill the people, and he begins to pass all different types of laws. And we're going to show you here. And you're going to see something familiar here during the Grecian captivity that's happening right now. So let's go here, First Maccabee. Let's go to start there in 41.
Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
Now, what do you hear that all are one people talk? Don't you hear that in America? Look, man, we all Americans. We should do everything together. One nation under God, right? Ain't that what they tell us? But look at what he said here in verse 42.
And everyone should leave his laws. All the heathens agreed according to the commandment of the king.
So he told them, said, look, we need to be all one people. Okay? So the way you did in your nation, your religion, your beliefs, you don't need to do that anymore. Now, the Gentiles in the other countries, hey, I'm with that, buddy. But let's see what happened in verse 43.
Yea, many also the Israelites considered to his religion, and sacrificed unto idols, and profaned the Sabbath.
So, many of our Israelite brothers, don't you see the same thing going on now? Go along to get along. They started preaching the prosperity. They went to the Sunday service. They telling people that they're under grace, you don't got to follow the law. Now, I remember when I was growing up in church, when I was growing up, and back in the day, the old folks didn't tell us that we was under grace. They said you were saved by grace, but you had to follow the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And we didn't get told that. You understand? My grandmother, she taught us the Ten Commandments and told us about, reading the Psalms 23 and all those things. Made us, learn the Lord's Prayer. She didn't tell us that, you can just do anything you want to. She said, if you want to live with God, you better live with God down here. That's one of the things she used to tell us. Okay? But yet, many of our preachers today, that in the so-called black community, so-called African-American community, they telling the people that you can do anything you want to do. You're under grace, buddy. Okay? Now, let's see. So some of the Israelites said, hey, we with you, buddy. So they forsake their Sabbaths. They forsake their law, and they went and did what the king said. Verse 44.
The king had sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice, and drink offerings in the temple, and that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days.
So all of a sudden now, you told me at first, like, yo, man, we cool. You can listen. I ain't come here to take over. But then all of a sudden now, you telling me I can't do. You read that for him again.
And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice, and drink offerings in the temple, and they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days.
So telling me I can't do my offerings, I can't do my sacrifice, I can't honor the Sabbath, and I can't keep the feast of the Most High God. Don't that sound familiar? What you see going on in America right now? So why is it that every time the old mission of Edom is to make Jacob get away from the laws, to get away from the Bible? The Bible says there's nothing new under the sun, people. This is the same thing they did to us when we were slaves. They told us, look, no, you don't go on the Sabbath no more. You go to church on Sunday. You're not an Israelite. You're a black. Okay? Listen, no. You're not a follower of Christ. You're not a tribe of Judah. You're a Baptist. You're a Methodist. Okay? This is what you do from now on. The same thing they did to our people in this country is the same thing they were doing to our people when the Greeks took over Israel. Why is that always Edom's sole purpose? Is to get away from the Most High. Verse 46.
And pollute the sanctuary and holy people. Set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts.
So now all of a sudden now they want to push pork on us. Don't you see that going on? If you go back and do your research and you see how our people was forced to eat swine as slaves. When they was coming over here on the slave ships, many of our people died because they refused to eat the pork. And when so many of our people died, they began to force the pork down our mouths so that we wouldn't die. But nowadays, they'll tell you, boy, bring on the chitlins, bring on the ham, bring on the ribs. This is us. This is black folks. When your people died, they chose to die rather than eat the swine back in the day. Same thing they're doing here. They did to us in America. Nothing new under the sun. Verse 48.
They should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanity.
So they now they told them, don't circumcise your child. Right? And then he said, what else?
And make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation.
So now you can go out as fornicate as you want to, drink as much as you want to, be homosexual as you want to. Everything's cool now because this is the King Commandments. Don't you see the same thing in America? The same thing America is pushing on our people now is the same thing the Grecians were pushing on our people back then. There's nothing new under the sun. Don't allow the blind to cause you to lose sight. Verse 50?
And whosoever would not do so.
No. Verse 49?
To end they might forget the law.
They might forget what?
To the end they might forget the law.
And do what?
And change all the ordinances.
That's all they wanted you to do. The whole point is to forget the law of the Most High God, because they know if you forget the law, now the covering is gone, the protection is gone, the anointing is gone, the blessing is gone, the prosperity is gone, and then they can do whatever they want to. Verse 50?
And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king, he said, he should die.
But first he said that we're supposed to be all one people, right? But if I want to follow my God, I want to follow the laws that's in his word, now I got to be killed. Where you see that at? During the so-called civil rights movement, the majority of the people that was out there was what they called Christians, following the Bible, teaching the truth, putting the scriptures up, and they were shooting them in the streets. But now, hey, if you want to rap about nonsense, I'll give you millions of dollars. If you want a script, I'll give you a reality show, give you hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you want to make TV shows and tell people to be gay and tell people to cheat on their husband and wives, I'll put you on Front Street. But if you want to tell people the truth, if you want to get people into the truth of the Bible, I'll make sure you're ostracized from your whole community and nobody want to rock with you. If you want to come on TV and tell people that they ain't got to follow the laws and they ain't got to follow the Bible and that God love them, we'll promote you up, we'll bring you on the show, give you book tours. But if you actually tell them the truth, I'll shame you. I'll make you look like you're nothing in front of your own people. I turn your own people against you. Don't allow the blind to cause you to lose sight. Verse 51.
In the self-same manner wrote he to his whole kingdom, and appoint overseers over all the people, commanding the cities of Judah to sacrifice city by city.
Mm-hmm.
Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit every one that forsook the law, and so they committed evils in the land, and drove the Israelites into secret places whenever they could flee for secure.
So it got to the point that some of our people sold us out so much and took the jobs that our Israelites had to run and hide because we wanted to follow the law. If they seen anybody in the temple on the Sabbath, you was taken out. If they seen anybody doing sacrifices, you were taken out. If they seen anybody walking with fringes and the women with their hair covered and following things, you were taken out. If they found out you had a child and you circumcised that child according to the law, you were killed. Your child was killed. Why is that so important? Why is it so serious to make sure that we don't follow what the Bible says? Because they knew that if you're in this word, that the truth was given to us, the so-called black man, the so-called African-American man, the so-called Mexican, the so-called Indian, the so-called Puerto Rican and Dominican and Haitian and Jamaican, so-called Aborigines of Australia, the people of West and South Africa, the people of Central and South America. They know that we are the children of Israel. And this is why colonization and slavery has went out of their way to get you away from the Most High God in the Bible. And this is why today our people don't want to have nothing to do with the Bible, nothing to do with Christ, nothing to do with God because of this. But I want to tell you again, don't allow the blind to cause you to lose sight. Now let's go over to the 3rd chapter. Let's go to the 3rd chapter. And you're going to see something very interesting here in the 3rd chapter. Let's go to verse 42 through 48. 3rd chapter, 1st of Maccabees, the 3rd chapter. And we're going to look at verses 42 through 48. Now, what you need to also know is that just like you see today where our people who are walking in the truth and understand that we are Israelites, you had people today in that time that refuse to get into the things of the Gentiles, refuse to keep the King's commandments, refuse to forsake the laws and the Bible and the truth because of one of the Bible there. And it was about a man by the name of Judas. His nickname was Maccabees. So let's look at here, verse 42 here.
Now when Judas and his brethren saw the miseries were multiplied, and that the forces did encamp themselves in their borders, for they knew how the king had given commandment to destroy the people and utterly abolish them.
So what happened was, when the king saw that the Israelites, the core of the Israelites, refused to forsake their laws, refused to forsake the Most High God, they began to send armies to Israel to kill the people, destroy them. Right? But there was a father by the name of Menhathius who had 4 sons who said, we are going to protect the people who want to follow the truth. So they went to the different cities and started gathering the people up, and anybody who had took deals with the Greeks, they killed them and get them out of here. Get them out of here. You want to go with the Greeks, go with the Greeks. So Judas was the captain of the army. And every time the Greeks would send someone, they would battle them and take them out. They would have 3-4 times more soldiers than the Greeks, than the Israelites had, and Israelites was winning every battle. Okay? So I wanted you to understand that I don't care how many people are coming up against you. I don't care how many people are trying to take you out. How many people are lying on you and spreading false things and trying to sabotage what you're doing. If the Most High God is for you, Romans 8:31 said that God before us, who can be against us? So they would go into battles and they would be in there, severely outnumbered, 10 times, and still winning the battles. And in many of the battles, you'll read in 1st and 2nd chapter of 1st Maccabees, they wasn't even losing people. You understand? But they were taking out thousands of them. So the Greeks was getting mad because they couldn't do nothing about them, and all the other nations around them that they was under start seeing how the Israelites was standing, and they were like, well, hey, if they standing, maybe we can stand. So some of the Gentiles you will see in there actually joined in some of the battles with the Israelites, right? So they said, like, man, this is going bad. Like, what are we going to do? Let's see here, verse 43, what he said.
They said one to another, let us restore the decayed fortune of our people, and let us fight for our people and the sanctuary.
The people have to be reason enough for us to fight. Our children that's coming up from behind. Regardless of what's going on in this nation. Regardless of how they treat us and talk about us. The word of the Most High God. The name of Yeshua, what the world calls Jesus. Our people. And the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God need to be justification and motivation enough for us to fight. Going back to what we talked about in the beginning here, when I was talking about my passing to my little brother. That's what he was doing the night before he died. You understand? Was sending letters, sending messages and videos out to his homeboys, telling them that they was Israel. So that means I don't care how you feel, what your bank account look like, what everything is going on. You need to be telling the truth. You understand? Verse 44.
Then was the congregation gathered together, that they might be ready for battle, and that might pray and ask mercy and compassion.
That's what you got to do. You don't need to go on your own strength. You don't need to go on your own merit. You need to pray and ask for mercy. That's the only way we have a chance to win in the battles against the Gentiles and the enemy that's trying to take us out. Verse 45.
Now Jerusalem lay void as a wilderness. That was none of her children that went in or out. The sanctuary also was trodden down, and aliens kept the stronghold. The heathen had their habitation in that place, and joy was taken from Jacob, and the pipe with the harp ceased.
That's how. What that means to us today is how our neighborhoods look. How they look, broken down, torn down, worn down. How some of these cities, with these fake hurricanes and fake things that they're doing, and how they're taking out our people and taking out the land, and now all of a sudden people are moving into the land and building 5-star homes there now. That's the same thing they were doing then. The Gentiles were coming into the land, taking the stuff, just taking everything that we had. The Most High city, Jerusalem, was overrun by Gentiles. Verse 49? No, excuse me. Verse 46.
Wherefore the Israelites assembled themselves together and came to Mashpha, over against Jerusalem. For in Mashpha was the place where they prayed aforetime in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Then they fasted that day and put on sackcloth and cast ashes upon their head and rent their clothes.
So they get ready to go into this battle. They're getting ready to stand for the truth, for their people, for their sanctuary, for their nation. And they said, you know what? We need to fast first. We need to pray and make sure that we get all the direction that we need. Now, I want you to read verse 48 loudly and clearly and slow for the people. People, attend your ears to this right here.
And laid open the book of the law.
Okay?
Wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
They did what?
And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
Wow. So the king passed a law and told the people, the Israelites, you can't follow your laws, you can't follow your statutes, you can't keep your Sabbaths, you can't keep your feasts, but yet took our book and did what?
Wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images.
They put up white Ezekiels. They put up white Ishmaels. Isaiahs. They put up white Moses in the book of the law. They were doing that then. They didn't want them to follow it. They didn't want them to keep it. But they wanted to trick the rest of the world that they came up with it. And that the Most High was giving it to Edom. Don't allow the blind to cause you to lose sight. So even before the time of Christ, during the Grecian captivities, the Edomites were going into our books and trying to put up paintings of themselves. This is why we believe that the Jewish people are the people. This is why we believe that the people, they've been doing it forever. They try to make us believe that we're nothing, but want to take credit for everything that we've done and the Most High have done through us. Don't allow the blind to cause you to lose sight. Now let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, the 14th chapter. And you're going to see some more stuff that's going to shock you here. As they say in the church, get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. This is why they didn't want you to read the Apocrypha, ladies and gentlemen. Because when you read this Apocrypha, you see what they've done. It exposes them. And they don't want people to know this. And this is what we're about to bring out here in Wisdom of Solomon. It's going to really blow your minds. And I pray that after you see this, I pray that anybody calling themselves an Egyptologist, anybody that calling themselves a Muslim, anybody who walked away from the Bible because of you said that this is a white man's book and that it's a white man religion and the white Jesus ain't real and that's blinding other people and convincing our people to do stuff. I hope after you see this, you will never denounce Christ or deny Christ again. Wisdom of Solomon, 14. Where we starting there?
7, right?
Yeah, verse 7.
For blessed is the wood.
My bad. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verses 7 through 22. That's what I wanted to make sure you see. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 7. Chapter 14, verse 7 through 22. Now, let's give him verse 7 there, Jay.
For blessed is the wood whereby righteous cometh. But that,
So read that for him again.
For blessed is the wood whereby righteous cometh.
Uh-huh.
But that which is made with hands is cursed, as well it, as he that made it, because he made it, and it, because being corruptible, it was called God.
So what Most High is talking about right here is the trees are blessed because the Most High made it. But when you cut those trees down and make it into an idol, it's cursed as well as the man who made it. Why?
Being because corruptible, it was called God.
Now, I need you to understand this. I need you to understand this, this statement that I'm about to say. The Christian church has turned the cross into an idol. That's why every church you see crosses out of it. And it has become an idol because you consider Christ to be God. And you people stand at the cross and they pray to it. You see what this verse says right here. That's why they don't want you to know this. That's why you got crosses in all these churches and people walking around with crosses on their neck. Those are idols. And we're going to give you a precept here in a minute to prove this in the law. Okay? So I just need to put that out there to the people because I know that's hard for people to understand because the cross means so much to people. You have to understand that, yes, Christ was crucified on the cross, but so were thousands of other people. Okay? So were thousands of other people. You understand? So the cross has no significance. The cross is just what the Most High used for him to give his life. The significance in it is the fact that he gave his life and he rose on the third day. Not the cross. Okay? Verse 9.
For the ungodly and his ungodliness are both alike hateful unto God.
They're what?
For the ungodly and his ungodliness are both alike hateful unto God.
Mm-hmm.
For that which is made shall be punished together with him that made it.
So all these people out here with your idols, with your idols and everything that you're doing, I'm telling you right now, you need to put them down. You need to put them down. Okay? Give us 1 second. You can turn another way. If it's gonna go in. Did you hear that click? Okay. Just we'll know in a minute if the 10% come back. All right. Don't have to push it in there again. Make sure it's in there. All right. Sorry about that. All right. So let's go to verse 14 here.
Skip 14.
Oh yeah, verse 13. That's right. My bad. No. I'm tripping, ain't it?
Is it 11?
Yeah. All right, my bad. We're in Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 10.
For that which is made shall be punished together with him that made it.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles shall there be a visitation, because in the creature of God they are become an abomination, and stumbling blocks to the souls of men.
Yeah, what?
And stumbling blocks to the souls of men, and a snare to the feet of the unwise.
So all of these different nations out here who have these idols, who has these fake gods, The Most High called them stumbling blocks to the unwise and to the souls of men. So when you coming out here telling the black folks, listen, man, you need to get back to the African gods. You need to get back to Osiris and Ra and Isis. This is who he's talking about. He's talking about you. So you better be careful. Be careful. You understand? Because that is a snare to the unwise. So many of these people are looking up to you guys because they don't know anything. These pastors in these churches ain't telling the people nothing. So when you come here and drop some knowledge on them, they think, man, you putting me on to something. Whoa, I've been falling a lie. Be careful. Verse 12.
For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication.
It is what?
Was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life.
That's right.
For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever.
They weren't there in the beginning when I was there, and they ain't going to be there in the end. You understand? So all you come up with all this nonsense, all these fallen angels that you're lifting up, you're going to end up with them in the lake of fire. Verse 14.
For by the vainglory of men they entered into the world, and therefore they shall come shortly to an end.
Because these people were looking for glory. They was looking for power. They was looking for to get something. Instead of going to the Most High and get it, they went to these fallen angels to get it. They were trying to get glory amongst their own men. It's like some of our people now that are selling their soul to Satan to get props from people. It's going on right now. All these people in Hollywood, the entertainment business, selling their souls to have rap careers, to have acting careers, to have modeling careers. They're doing it now. Even politicians doing it now. Anybody that's in a highly elected official in America is sold out to a Satanist. I'm telling you right now, you don't get there unless Satan put you there. This one nation under God is a lie. It ain't under the Most High God, I tell you that, buddy. It's not. The Bible in Revelation calls it spiritual Sodom and Egypt, buddy. The daughter of Babylon. This is what America is. Face it. Face it. Okay? Verse 15.
For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he had made an image of his child, soon taken away, now honor him as a God.
He did what?
For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he had made an image of his child, soon taken away, now honor him as a God, which was then a dead man.
Stop right there for a second. Let me show them who this person is talking about here. Meet Cedra. Meet Cedra Bourgeois. The one on the right is Cedra. The one on your left is who they call to be Jesus. A picture painted by Leonardo da Vinci. It's going to talk about him in a second as well. Read that for him again.
For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he had made an image of his child, soon taken away, now honor him as a God.
He did what?
Now honor him as a God, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under his ceremonies and sacrifices. Thus, in process of time, an ungodly custom grew strong and was kept as law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings.
This is where you get your Christmas from. Okay? So they put the Cedra Bourgeois up to be Jesus, and made all the kings bow to him, said, "This is your God right here." And then they did what? Read verse 15 for me. Verse 16 for me again.
Thus, in process of time, an ungodly custom grew strong and was kept as law.
An ungodly custom grew strong. Saturnella, which they turned it into Christmas and did what?
And graven images was kept as law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments.
Was kept as a law, and what?
And graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings.
That's why you got the white Jesus up in all your churches. That's why all the Christian churches and all Christians in America and all over the world celebrate Christmas, because they took the Cedra Bourgeois, put him up as Jesus, and then they made an ungodly custom, which was Saturnella, and made it to be law. This is why they don't want you to read the Apocrypha, because it was in there before they did it. And so if you go and read this and see this, you're going to say, whoa, now I understand why it was done. Now let's precept this. Let's go to Exodus 20. Let me show you in the law what the Most High said about these images and how we were supposed to not do these things. Let's go to Exodus 20. See, the Apocrypha is calling it out, but the law has already stated it. Let's go to Exodus 20. Let's look at verses 4 and 5. Give verse 4 there.
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image.
What? You should not do what?
Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them.
You shall not do what?
Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
So why do you think it's happening to our people when you got this white Jesus up in your church, while you're going around celebrating Christmas and not the feast, and you fell for the deception of Edom? We all did. And this is why our people now saying they don't want to have anything to do with the Bible, because of these fake customs, when the Bible had it in there the whole time. We just never looked for it. When you go to Jeremiah 10, he says they would take the trees out of the woods, hang it up in their houses, put silver and gold into it, talking about what the Gentiles do, and told us not to do it. That's your Christmas tree. That's in Jeremiah 10. Don't allow the blind to cause you to lose sight. Verse 17.
Whom men could not honor in presence, because they dwelt far off. They took the counterfeit of his visions from far, and made an express image of a king whom they honor, to the end that by this their forwardness they might flatter him that was absent, as if he were present.
That's what your colonization was all about. They took the cross, they took the wood, what the Most High told us never to do, and they took these pictures of Jesus, of Serge Bojo. I ain't calling them Jesus. They took Serge Bojo, put him on a picture, and took him all around the world and told him, this is your God. Bow to him. And we did it. This is why you got Catholic churches everywhere. Everywhere. Because of what they did here. Verse 18.
Also, the singular diligence of the artificer did help to set forward the ignorant to more superstition.
So they're talking about here, Leonardo da Vinci here, his painting skills. Verse 19.
For he, peradventure willing to please one in authority, forced all his skill to make the resemblance of the best fashion. And
he's also talking about all these statues that you see over in Rome, where they got David and Moses over there. And they wanted to please the Michelangelo and Raphael, all these different artists of the period that time. They was trying to get impressments from the king and the authority, so they went out of their way to make all of these figures and made them white. All these paintings of Moses and Samuel and the prophets and Isaiah and Ezekiel and all Paul and John and Peter and all these people looking like Romans. The same thing the Greeks did, the Romans came and did the same exact thing. Telling you not to follow your law, telling you not to follow your commandments, telling you not to follow your truth, but then go into the Bible and put their own pictures and their own images of the people. So if it's bad, why did you want to be known for it? Verse 21.
And this was an occasion to deceive the world.
This was what?
This was an occasion to deceive the world, for men serving either calamity or tyranny did ascribe unto stones and stocks the incommunicable name.
Wow. So now, you ain't calling on a higher no more. You ain't calling on the Most High God. You're calling on Jesus. You're not saying Yeshua no more, which means Savior in Hebrew. You're saying Jesus, which translate into Yiddish, into Joshua. You didn't know that, did you? That's why they keep throwing that word out there. His name is Yeshua. No, that's Joshua. His name is Yeshaya, which means Savior. Don't allow the blind to cause you to lose sight. So you see here that they went out their way to paint their images, to put up their things into our truth, to all these paintings and all these things that you see, in order to get you out of the Bible. That's what it was all about from the beginning.